Hey everybody, welcome to the August of 2020 Patreon Q&A. Apologies this is so late in the month. I've just had a very hectic month. My patrons know why. I've done some, what should we call them, raw unedited vlogs that are just there to help fill some gaps. That I, you know, being unedited, I wouldn't put them onto YouTube itself, but I think they're pretty funny still. But anyway, we're going to get straight on the questions. We've got 20 questions, but a lot of these is really long for the looks of it, so we're just going to have to get on. Here we go. Andrew Spears, hi Spicy and Reno, good to see you're both doing well. I guess this is a kind of bike related but also current events related. For Spicy, does wearing a motorcycle helmet in shops save you from wearing a mask? And for Reno, because you have asthma, you should be exempt from masks, but do you still get dirty looks from people? I also have asthma and do not wear a mask in shops, etc. Well, for me, I believe a helmet does class as a face covering, but I still use a mask under it because, you know, I'd like other people to do the same thing. As for Reno...
my wearing a mask doesn't affect my asthma too much, and I only wear it for a short amount of time, so I just wear one. Paul Piggott says, hi Spicy and Reno, hope you are keeping well. What bike would you recommend, as I'm just about to take my Mod 1 and progress onto a larger bike from a 125. I've got a Lexmoto LXR 125 and I was thinking maybe the LXR 380. Love to know your thoughts, as I got my LXR 125 after the review you did. Many thanks Paul, PS love the build and all this.
Picking the bike that you need is very difficult, we have this all the time. However, what I would say is rather than getting an LXR 380, because it's an okay, for the money it's fine, but you can't get around the fact that second hand you can get some much nicer bikes from bigger brands. So I would say, I can't give you a suggestion of what bike that you want because it depends on your wants and needs. Did they mention if they're doing the A2 or the full licence? No. So I don't know if it's A2 or full licence. So just what I always say is find a bike that can fit your wants and needs and that you like the look of, and you should be golden. Reese Stinton Clark, hi Spicy and Reno, hope you're both doing well. I've got an A2 licence which I had a few days after my 19th birthday, very keen I know. My 2-year restriction until I can move to an A licence was up in April. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I've had to give biking a break for a while, so my question is, do you think it's worth just doing my test soon when tests are back to normal, or wait till I actually go to ride again? My next bike, it isn't going to be AC compliant, maybe an MT09, MT07, but thanks for your words and wisdom, absolutely smashed the DRZ build series, I love it, keep up the amazing work. Right, okay, so basically what you're saying is, should you do the licence now during the break from biking, or wait till you get back on a bike? Personally, I would say wait until you get the bike, or do it around the same time, because that means you're going to have a little bit of a refresher, opposed to doing it then getting the bike months later and not being used to it. I mean, risk wise, it's more, it would be better to wait and do it at the same time as doing a bike, but if you don't want to, then you know you don't have to, basically.
Daniel Boddington says, hey Spicy and Reno, hope you are both keeping in good health. Question for both of you, what would be your dream bike if money wasn't an option?
Really don't know.
No, I don't. I like my bike, and that was the bike that I wanted.
It would be a group of bikes rather than a bike. I can't even have a bike as it is now. Right, the bin, he's asking a question. Hey Spicy and Reno, hope you're both well. Well done on the DRZ build, Derek looks class. Would you ever consider going to Scotland for the North Coast 500? Maybe you could motovlog your trip. Not really considered it. So I mean, I suppose I could, but it's just whether I really want to. Be cool to do, but I don't know. Being honest, I don't know.
Robo Ninja 300 says, hey Spicy and Reno, hope you're both doing well. I love the rebuild series of Derek. I've got a project bike that I'm going to rebuild, and it's because of you, dude. Now, as for my question, what's the best condiment for food? All the best, guys. Ooh. Well, you probably have better answers because you were a chef.
Well, no, it's just personal choice. Chili sauces, I would say. Ooh. Something with chipotle in it. Chipotle, Chipotle. I don't know how it's pronounced properly, but that stuff. There is a sauce I really like called Made for Meat.
Made for Meat.
It's good on burgers and all sorts of things.
I only really like mayonnaise and tomato sauce, and that's basically it.
B Ferrari, Hey Spice team. I passed my DAS recently. Congratulations. Got a 650 now. Is it weird to miss the whole training experience, the test and my 125? I feel like I've slightly lost something now. The goal is complete. Getting somewhere far on a 125 felt like a real achievement. Any suggestions? I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
But maybe now you have a whole new set of challenges to try and do. Like, I'm sure that you never did 200 mile just ride before now on a 125. That would have been like a day's... But now you could get on a bike and just do a big tour of an area, or go and see places that are further away that you probably wouldn't have done before. And also progressing your riding skills, but this time of year is not a good time to do that. I hope that helps.
Andrew Honey says, "Hi Spicy and Reno, I am thinking of getting a Honda CBF 125 as a get to work bike. I know Reno had one for a while and was wondering if it's a good bike to get. Any suggestions on things I need to look for when I go to buy one? Thanks."
My opinion of that bike is it's very reliable, the engine is great, it's very cheaply made, and it's an absolute pain in the arse to work on in access if you have big hands and stuff. Also, the swing arm is very thin walled, so check for rust on stuff like that. But yeah, if it's been looked after, I think it's a bike that will just keep going and going.
Yeah.
And it can definitely be crashed a lot of times and still.
Yeah, I've dropped it, I crashed it, and it still ran somehow. It is, I would say it's bomb proof. But it's a bit sketchy. I think I personally didn't really like the, well, you didn't like the tyres, so I don't give much feedback, but then it's the one.
It was the front suspension had very little feedback as well.
Other than that, I loved it.
It's a great A to B bike that reliably do it every single day.
It will.
It's not a great bike to progress your learning abilities on, which is what I said. Anyway, Mephisto, for proper off-roading, is it wise to take some training, or would you say just wing it? I know my answer. Found that one out. Did you... I've never taken any training off-road, but then I don't really do anything particularly extreme off-road, so even slightly extreme, I just poodle around. That's the thing. I know for green laning, right, people really want to go fast, and like, you're going slowly. It's like, I have so little green lanes here that if I go fast, they run out instantly, so I might as well enjoy myself just pootling along, looking at the sheep.
Mark Lally says, "Hey Spicy and Reno, hope you are both well. What are your thoughts on not being allowed to test ride a bike until you've had your full licence for a year, sometimes 2 years? I'm going to be doing my DAS soon, and I've narrowed my big bike search to 2 potential bikes, the MT-07 or the Ninja 650, but I've been told that I have to have my full licence for a year."
I'm not aware of places doing that. I'm aware of places doing that, but not all places. My suggestion would be speak to someone else.
Yeah.
And if it's unanimous amongst all of them, that sucks a lot.
Yeah, because I'm sure most places will let you test ride a bike to see. They might send someone out with you.
Is that why I test rode your bike?
Yes.
Or was it because you didn't have your A2 yet? No, you did. No,
I did have my A2, but I didn't have a full licence. I had an A2 licence.
Yeah, but your bike is an A2.
Yeah.
So why didn't you test ride it? Or maybe it was because you weren't confident to, and
I
did it just to give it a quick shakedown and be sure of it.
I think so. Although I am thinking maybe I wasn't allowed to.
Maybe that is why. Interesting question. I want to know how wide this goes, because that causes real problems to people. Maybe they expect people who just get the licence to go and buy a second-hand bike straight off, which... But I think most people probably do, but that's not a great answer to that, is it?
I know Honda do test rides, because you can book them on the website.
Don't know, we'll look into it. If you know any more, let us know. I might be pronouncing this completely wrong, but Jamel Alone... Hi Spicy and Reno from London. I have been watching your videos for a few months now and pretty much convinced me to do my CVT. Where am I? I I ended up falling off the bike when learning to ride. I dumped the clutch full throttle and then grabbed the front brake with essentially shoving me off the bike. That is a perfect combination of all the things that most people get wrong in one go. So do not feel bad about it. I only just ordered a Lexmoto ZSXR, and one of my biggest fears now is I'm not knowing how to fill the bike up at petrol stations, as I've never had to use one before. Have you got any tips? I can imagine myself overfilling the bike or something, having petrol go on the floor. That's a really interesting one.
Yeah, I worried about that when I first got my bike.
I reckon that should be a video.
Yeah.
In short, as long as you make sure that the nozzle goes into the tank, when you're holding the handle, when the petrol gets up to the end of the nozzle, it cuts itself off automatically. It goes click and it stops pumping. If you let go and then pull it again, it will start pumping again. So don't pull it out. But simply, you go in the petrol station, depending on where it is.
Make sure you know what. Most bikes are petrol anyway, but make sure.
There's no diesel bikes.
Well,
I think actually.
Don't pick up the diesel pump, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
don't pick up the diesel pump.
I think there is an American bike which used diesel that they used out in the deserts because it meant they had diesel. Military, because they had diesel for their Jeeps and stuff, so they had diesel for that and they were taking it. Anyway, you go in, pick your pump, undo the. Well, some stations ask you to get off, some don't. The safest thing to do, in theory, is to get off. So you get off, put it on the side stand, undo the cap, take the handle, firmly put it in, then click the thing, keep your hand off the trigger till you're ready to squirt the fuel in. Then when it stops, let go, take it out, put it back on, go in and pay. And check your number before you go in, because otherwise the person behind the counter will hate you. They won't say it, but they'll hate you. Ex-petrol station employee.
And maybe if you've never ever used a petrol station before, ever, if you know anyone that's got a car, go with them and get them to show you how to fill the car up, because it's basically the same. Or a bike. Yeah, or someone else who's got a bike.
But yeah, it's that's an interesting question that maybe.
I was like, oh god, I don't want to look like one of those girls.
Because you see, for me, I stay sat on the bike, but a lot of petrol stations won't let you do that because of the regulations. Although there's no law about it, it's just because people basically can spill fuel on the bike and then they get caught on fire and then it falls over and blah blah. Doesn't really happen much, but for some reason they decided to do it in some places.
You'll be fine.
Oh, and helmet. Normally you don't have to take your helmet off, but some places ask you to take your helmet off.
Lee Bayliss says, "Hi Sprino. I know you ride motorbikes, but do you think a manual car licence is worth getting these days? I only ask because I've recently passed my licence manual, but a family member is only getting an auto licence because they're all going to be automatic soon," referring to electric cars. Thanks, I hope you have a good day. I think it just depends on you.
So the question basically being, do I think the manual car licence is worth getting these days? Yes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there comes a situation where you're like, oh, can you take my car somewhere? Can you drive my car? Oh, emergency situation, can I borrow your car? It's a manual. Oh, I can't drive that.
Yeah.
In my experience, and this goes for bikes as well, people that say that they don't need a manual or manuals are inferior have problems with the gears. And then rather than just saying, look, I have problems with the gears, they blame the technology.
Yeah. I think if you learn to ride a manual, automatic is just instantly easier. Yeah. And then you can do both.
I think it's always worth learning. Obviously, if you're just going to drive your own car and never drive anyone else's, then fine. But to me, it's almost like taking an A2 when you're 24. Like, oh, I only want to have a 500cc, so I'm just going to do that and just, pay the same money, do the same thing pretty much, and not get the same benefit from it. But I suppose then if you can't drive a manual, it's a much bigger deal. Philippe M, greetings you two. So I finally did a proper long day where I rode from London to Liverpool in one go, and sadly I had an enormous amount of discomfort with the bike seat during the ride. I've tried 2 different gel pads, one is even medical grade, but I think the bike just doesn't fit me. V-Strom 650. I'm actually quite sad about it. I think I need to get a different one, Spicy. I remember riding an MT9 during my course last year, and I stayed on it all day and was fresh with no discomfort. The last option is throwing more money into an aftermarket gel seat and seeing if that works. Have you had any experience with comfort seats, Spicy? I keep thinking if the bike is right, basing his bike right for me, I shouldn't really feel that amount of discomfort. I've I have a bad back as well, so I'm more sensitive than most. Thanks for your time as always. I have bad back as well. It's been really playing up the past few days, obviously because of the work I did in my hands, which is why I took a day or so off over the weekend, which is why there's not been a video, and I apologise for that, but I'm sure you understand I need a break occasionally. I've never really had any major issues with seats becoming uncomfortable. I mean, I ride a DRZ with the bench seat on it. No, DRZ, sorry. Because of this, when I'm doing a video that I know specifically is going to like mostly non-subscribers, I try and say DRZ just to stop those comments. But with my normal videos, DRZ. Yeah, I've not really experimented with gel seats or anything like that. I have found that seats that are a bit firm become uncomfortable after a while. Maybe if you try another bike and for a day and see if you get the same problems, because you don't want to sell that bike and feel like you made a mistake and then go and buy another bike and then find it having the exact same problem, but it took you a while to find it out. Or I don't know, it's not really a problem I've encountered, and I thought that the gel seat was the absolute answer. Though from watching Shade Tree Surgeon recently, he did a lot of miles, and he mentioned he had like I think it's like some air seat thing.
Yeah, I remember.
And he was saying about how taking it out and putting it back, varying it over the trip makes a difference as opposed to having one or the other. So I don't know whether they do like inflatable ones you can change or what, I don't know.
Because I remember Red Renner got one for her 600, I think, when she had it back back.
For one of the long trips?
Yeah, for a really long trip. Andrew Watkins says, hi Spicy and Reno, hope you're both good. Bit of a weird one, Spicy. How do you find the sizing on the MRT RHOK Jeans? I quite fancy some, but being a bloke, I'm not a massive fan of returning things.
I find that waist measurement comes up as measured, so I order what I am. I do get the 33 leg, maybe get the slightly longer leg, I'm not sure. They've always just kind of fitted me fine, but I do know I've got really long legs, so for other people they might find that they're too long, but
I suppose it's not necessarily a bad thing if they go below your ankles anyway.
Well, no, the problem is the knee armors then sit like too low.
Yeah.
You can, there is some adjustment there, but they do take returns, although yeah, it is a bit of a pain in the butt going backwards and forwards. I'd measure and order what you are, and it should be okay. I assume. That's what I did. It worked out for me, but maybe I'm an odd size. Gary Musket? Musset. I like that. Musset. Hi Spicy and Reno. Glad to see you are both well. I enjoyed the bike build series on Derek. Kept me sane during lockdown. Question, let's see how building things are lockdown.
Gosh.
Question is for Spicy. Were you ever tempted along the way to strip and rebuild the engine as part of a full strip down rebuild? Right, I'll answer that one first. No, because that engine has had the 440 kit put in it because the piston and ball went in the past, so that's all new, and it also had a lot more work done to it when the next load of stuff happened and the heating system went and it blew its top, and blew the spark plug out, half the heating system went out. Getting that all done, that was also very expensive. So because of that, most of that engine has been looked after. Bearings in it sound okay. It's got a manual cam chain tensioner. So basically, no. But I would like to do it at some point in the future, check like the main bearings and things like that. But splitting the engine down that far is something I've not done myself, and it's like, am I going to push myself to do that? I have no fear I can't do it, but it's, a lot of it's like getting bearings out and getting bearings in. If it was just taking it apart, it'd be one thing, but I worry about casings and stuff. Right, question for Reno. Spicy has been asked a few times about bikes he'd like to review if he could choose any bike. I'm just interested to know whether there are any bikes you would like him to be able to review so you can experience them from a pillion point of view, i.e. the Triumph Tiger being almost the same height as you would make it difficult and impossible for you to safely come to a stop. But still wanting to experience the ride style particular bike on the road? That's a really interesting question. Forgetting your licence and fitting, are there any bikes you'd like to just experience being
on the back of?
The thing is, you get to get on a lot of bikes.
Yeah, I don't know, any bike. I like all bikes basically. They're all different and they're all interesting. I mean, when you're at a pillion, it's kind of like you sit there, but you get a different experience for each bike each time. I don't know. I honestly do not know.
So I think the answer would be that you've got to experience loads.
Yeah.
Loads and loads of them. Like nearly every review bike that I have for more than a couple of days, you get to go on the back of, even the 125. So.
Yeah.
May Crotch.
May Crotch says, "Hello, Spicy and Reno." It was in caps, so I shouted it. How are you both? My question is, what is the stupidest thing you've done for a bet? The worst thing I did is I had to put an egg in my underpants and sat on it. Definitely brought a new meaning to an eggy wash. I continue to be stunned by your awesomeness. You are a brilliant pair. Cheese out. Regards to Nigel.
Nigel's doing fine. I bet some people don't even know who Nigel is, mate, so he's quite funny at this point. I guess stupidest. I don't really do things for bets. I'll just do them for a laugh. But I suppose technically someone
Well, like a dare. Like if you've ever done truth or dare.
Well, someone said to me when I used to do freshwater fishing. Someone said eat a maggot, and I'm all right. Just ate one.
Oh. God.
Yeah, that's the reaction they had, but they shouldn't have dared me. I kind of dared you to eat a pickle.
Yeah, and I
instant regret.
The only ever instant regret, a literal instant regret I've ever had, was tasting a pickle. Because I know I don't like them, but he makes them look tasty when he's chopping them up and putting them in his burger. And then I thought, oh, do you know, I'll try. I haven't had one for years. Maybe my taste was a change. As soon as it touched, just the nanosecond or whatever of my tongue, nope, gone. Did not like it. Do not want it. Just no. I don't like pickles.
Sam Anderson, hi Spicy and Reno. I hope you're well. I just bought a 1971 BSA A65T. Now I'll be honest here, I don't know exactly what that bike is.
I don't know what that is.
I know roughly what it would look like.
Sounds like a plane.
However, it sounds very cool because I like the fact that people are keeping old bikes alive. Anyway, and I'm thinking about doing Restoration Z style video series. I don't have a huge budget. What camera setup would you recommend for that sort of video series? I actually need to do what was it? A moth?
It's a green fly. I thought he was going to go real and scare you, but he didn't.
He's going around and around. I want to do a video on this soon because a lot of people would have like a digital SLR or something. I got a camcorder. And I filmed my entire build series with it's a 4K Panasonic camcorder and it cost about £350, £400, something like that. So I get it's expensive, but I actually use it in 1080p because my PC can't really cope with the 4K. I'm just about looking to upgrade my PC. I actually need to talk to a local company about it. Yep. The long story, let's get short with it. Camcorders, however, excuse me.
It's the green fly.
Excuse me.
I'm moving.
Excuse me.
I am moving. You just move me. He's coming for you.
He's not. However, it would be perfectly possible if you have really good lighting to use something like this Canon. Now, this thing only cost me about £200.
Yeah.
You could probably pick one of these up secondhand for maybe £100, something like that. I think these are much better because for doing video series in a garage like that, because you can set the camera up in one place, you can see on the screen what's going on, you can zoom in and out so you don't have to have the camera right on top of it like with a digital SLR. They are made to record for a long amount of time, that's why they've got bigger batteries on them, and they're always interchangeable batteries that aren't too expensive. You can find cheap versions online. The audio that comes out of this one directly onto the camera is actually not too bad. The one that we're filming this with, well, I'm using a mic on it, a boom mic, a cheap £20 one, and also a recorder just in case that audio is not good enough. I don't know which one I'm using. Well, if it's really loud now, then know that I'm using the voice recorder. If it wasn't, then I'm not. I'm hoping that on-camera audio is going to be good enough. So yeah, and then what I use for that, I have a hat with a lavalier mic. So I record with this, and then use a recorder to get my voice so it's not moving. I put it on the peak of a hat so it's not moving around. So the short answer is, camcorder I think is a good idea, depending on how much you want to spend, between 100 second hand, 200 new, up to like 400 something new, and then some sort of audio equipment. The ideal is something I'm trying to get my hands on at the moment is a Rode Mic Go, which is basically a thing you can plug into the camera. You have a little box on you and it's a wireless lavalier mic, and that would be perfect for me. It would solve a lot of problems with recording onto the camera rather than on the separate thing, but they're expensive. I need to talk to Rode.
You want me to have tape on your back?
No.
Every time I always want to say, oh, you've got something stuck to your back. Oh, you've got tape there. And I'm like, oh yeah, you've been filming, that's why.
As I say, I want to do a video talking about this. Reasons why I would always say to people, get a camcorder over a digital SLR, because you just save so much money and it's so much better for it. But anyway, 2 stars question is the last one, so you read that one.
Hi, Reno and Spicy, much love. What do you think of the Benelli brand? Good looking, relatively cheap Chinese bikes. A review on the 302s is probably too much to ask for, or the 502C. I think I have access to Benelli's bikes through Andy Sill maybe, but I'm not sure which models he's got. So when the opportunity arises, if it arises, then yes, I might be quite interested in their bikes, because from what I understand, they are Chinese, but people for some reason hold them in a higher regard than others, like MASH and... oh no, Benelli, I'm thinking of someone else. No, I'm not. No, I think they're, yeah. What I said still kind of makes sense. I was thinking of another brand, but they're much more expensive for the price, you know. I was thinking of potato.
You were thinking of potato?
Because you said mash.
Oh. Well, that was the last question. Huge thanks to my Patreon supporters for your support as always. Apologies for the little gap. I needed a couple of days off, and I'm now going to, well, tomorrow I'm going to get out, hopefully if the weather's nicer, not really warmer though, get out there and get some videos recorded, and also need to work out what I'm going to do this winter. Anything else you wish to add?
Cheese biscuits.
Cheese biscuits. And Squiffy Kitty. Squiffy.
Focus on him. I'll go behind so it focuses on him.
Focus. Focus.
I think his face is too messed up, it can't focus.
Focus. Focus. He's now on the glass of the lens. Hello.
Hello.
Right, it's ended there. Bye-bye.
Bye.